Before we jump into this episode, I want to take a moment to tell you about the upcoming Texas WWing Festival, a 2-day celebration where makers and enthusiasts come together to share their passion for the craft. Join us for a weekend filled with creativity, community, and inspiration. You'll meet tool manufacturers, furniture makers, woodworking clubs, content creators, and more, all in one place with great food and drinks, and of course, all things woodworking. It all takes place in Austin, Texas on September 26th and 27th. The festival features an education track on both Saturday and Sunday, where you'll have a chance to learn from masters of the craft. Plus, there's also a special pre-conference content creator track on Friday, September 25th. Head to TexasWoodworkingFestival.com for more details and to grab your tickets. Use code MWAP10 to get 10% off your tickets. I'll drop a link in the show notes. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's something for everyone at the Texas Woodworking Festival. Don't miss it. Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle and I'm joined by my co-hosts Sean, Brian, and Jeff. Today, we're excited to have longtime friend of the show, David Douyard, as our guest. David is an accomplished chairmaker, fine furniture maker, and instructor, and he will be one of the presenters at the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival on September 25th and 27th in Austin, Texas. So welcome back, David.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, we appreciate you being here. It's been too long. I was going through the show notes and I go, I thought you were on sooner than that, but I think it's been a
while.
Like 8 months or so.
Yeah, okay, almost.
Golly. So it's great to have you back. And before we get started talking to David and all that he has going on, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Sutherland Wells knows that exceptional craftsmanship deserves an exceptional finish. That's why they handcraft their full line of low and VOC exempt finishes and stains using the highest quality, cold-pressed, sustainably grown tung oil. Their unique polymerization process delivers the deep penetrating, grain-enhancing, non-yellowing protection of tung oil, while reducing the drying time and allowing the finish to build a beautiful, durable film. Sutherland Wells, the timeless look of traditional oil made for the modern woodworker, and use code MWA25, that's the numbers 25, for 10% off your first order.
And we'd like to thank Sutherland Wells for their sponsorship of this episode. And with that, let's give our patrons a shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yeah, we like to give our shout outs to our Patreon supporters. Today, we're giving that particular shout out to our new patron, Matthew Walsh, the owner of Woodworking School Rosewood Studios in Canada. That is awesome, Matthew. Thank you for supporting us. And if you would like to support the MWA podcast, you can do that by going to www.patreon.com/MWA podcast and help us out there.
Yes. And again, that's patreon.com/MWA podcast. Sean is working with Hotel Wi-Fi tonight, but anyway.
Oh, did I cut up? I am so sorry.
But Matthew, thank you so much. And hopefully he will be a guest upcoming probably sometime in the fall. But
yeah, I was going to mention that. That'd be great to have a new Patreon or new patron on our show.
Yeah. When he sent me his stuff, I looked him up and I was like, he has a great journey. So it should be a fun episode. So look forward to that. And with that, let's move on to what's in the shop. So Sean, what are you working on?
I am currently on a work trip in Tampa, Florida, hot and sweaty Tampa, Florida. As I found out, because I'm not down here all that often, they consider those afternoon storms a cooling thing, not a humidity increasing thing. And they're currently in a drought, so there ain't no cooling going on. So every day so far, I've been here since Monday, Wednesday right now, and it has been a heat index of over 100 degrees from about 9 a.m. to about 7 p.m. daily.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, toasty, but with a breeze. It's not still air, which is beneficial. But while I was here, I got a big shipment of things because I'm putting in-ground irrigation in my front lawn. So there's a box of equipment in my garage right now for when I get back. So I get to start digging holes in my mediocre front lawn.
Are you going to trench it like with a trencher or just a
no,
spade?
I'm not going to rent anything. I'm going to do it just spade and I think I need to get one of those like half moon edgers.
Oh yeah.
And then like a trench shovel just to get down and go, because I'm sinking 1-inch feed line for everything, so it's going to be fairly substantial, and I probably have to go down 8 to 10 inches. So, but it's all sand; it shouldn't be too hard to get through. But I've been doing above ground irrigation for 6 years now, so I figure it's about time to put those damn heads in the ground.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, good luck with that. At least you
Well,
have
thank you.
sand. Yeah. Here we have clay. So yeah, you definitely.
Yeah,
have to
clay's a whole
Yeah.
nother. Yeah,
It's all rocks in the Northeast, buddy.
Yep.
Well, that too. And I'm wondering like what I'm going to hit. I do, the one concern is my leach field is my front yard or in my front yard. It's not all over by names, but I don't know how deep it is. It should be like 15 to 18 inches deep, but I'm going to discover that because I got to put a head like right in the middle in order to cover things because I've got a 6,000 square foot front lawn. So, that's a lot of different things I got to put it, in different spaces to make up that space. But we shall see. Always an adventure. So, Brian, how about you? What are you working on?
A couple of things. I got together another built-in bookcase in my wife's office. I almost screwed it up royally. Like, this one kind of it's up in the corner of the ceiling to the back wall, but there's a air return up there, and I thought it was in the middle of that space, and it's not. And I'm glad I realized that right before I cut the dados to put the plywood divider in there. And I just, let me go upstairs. And I ran up. I'm like, oh crap, that would have been bad. Because plywood's really expensive. I don't want to have to recut anything. So that's up there. It looks good. Now I have to kind of do a little bit of Tetris to get the ones that are on the right and the left in. And after that, I call it the fun stuff kind of starts. It's, finishing type things, the bench seat. It's slow progress here. The wife is off for the summer, so there's not an urgent need to get this done. And she's got me doing a bunch of stuff outside in the landscaping. But the mower saga continues.
Nice.
The lawn looks fantastic. I had to it fell off the curb once, so I had to modify the map. But everything, I got it tuned now. But I noticed when it leaves the station, it backs straight up the same distance each time, spins and goes. But when it comes back, it does not. It comes at different angles. And sometimes it kind of comes like at about a 15-degree angle onto the pad and then pivots and then goes straight in. So I have to lose the doors on the little Hobbit house because it's just,
oh man,
there's no way.
Wow.
So it's more of a Hobbit carport.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That's probably the way to what do hobbits drive? I don't know, but so it's gonna look like a hobbity garage, with a door open. So I was kind of bummed about that. But there's just no way around it. It would just be a banging into this thing and throwing fits and beeps and pops.
So now you go back into the actuated 180-degree hinge door thing to open it up wide enough for it to get in, but still enclose it when it's in. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to do it's like a one single door.
Or lift it up like the Back to the Future garage. Like it was just like a single tilt up solid door.
Yeah, I mean, my neighbor was suggesting you could still do like a roll up that rolls into like a tight. I don't know what the term for that is, but it's not like a garage door panels, but it's well, I guess technically it is. It's very skinny panels, but they roll up into like a
roll.
Yeah, it looks like a wrapping paper roll, sort of.
Yeah.
He says we got motors fast enough to do that. I'm like, you know what? We're just complicating the hell out of this thing. Let's focus on the aesthetics.
So a raccoon takes hold of the cavity and starts sleeping among the remote.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that groundhogs. We got some groundhogs that kind of are a bit of a pain in the butt. And I guess there's less mechanics. There's less because I've got some sort of. I think it's a chipmunk. Maybe it's a squirrel. Something is eating my wires. Oh, because when I plug this thing in, I'm like, why is the outlet tripping each and every time? And then because this is an extension cord that kind of goes through the ivy, and I pulled the cord up, and all I saw was bare copper. He ate through the outer casing, through the insulation of the wires themselves, and the wires were actually hitting each other. So I was like, oh. And then I had to go buy an extension cord. So it's
bury something, get it in the ground so they're not doing that.
Yeah, it's not in the best spot. If we ever redo the patio, I'll trench a line out there. Yeah. But right now it's just an extension cord that's kind of you can't really see it unless you know it's there. Mm. Yeah, but I still want to bend the roof. I want to make it like a nice arch. Make little tiny mini shingles. I've got some extra plexiglass cut around. I'm going to cut out some windows. Maybe 3D print some window jams and stuff. So it'll be neat. And my neighbors, he finally got back from Japan. He's like, what is that thing? I explained to him. He's totally on board. It's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So
I saw just recently a video of somebody who's got one of those bigger robot things, but they've got a full fence yard with an outer side too. Mm-hmm. And they did like saloon doors and the thing just pushes through from the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
actually set it to basically disable the LiDAR for a short time, and it'll go, go basically.
At a specific location,
Yep.
you can say like over here it's okay to go through this.
Yeah, you set paths. Like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
yard is split into zones, and it has distinct paths to get from one to the other across the driveway, and so it's predictable.
So does it go out and mow like every day, or is it?
Yeah, my yard is 21,000 square feet of grass, and I have it split, so it basically does one half one day, one half the other, and it alternates Monday through Saturday, and Sunday is the day of rest. So
Nice.
yeah,
Good.
so, yesterday it was raining pretty hard here, and it's like, nah, I'm not doing that. So it's got a rain sensor on it, but yeah, the
That's
lawn
good.
looks great. So
Yeah, that's my next question. So it's looking good though.
yeah, the only incident I had is, and I must have did this by accident, but somehow I came out one morning, and we called the mower Melvin, and I was like, let me go check on Melvin, and all of a sudden I just see like grass flying everywhere, and his height, I usually cut at 3.3 inches. His height got set to 1.3
Ooh.
somehow, and he
Ooh.
basically did like a bad haircut in the yard
Yeah.
for like
Oh, man.
five passes before I got to him, and I changed it real quick. So yeah, it's growing out finally. Yeah, but
Interesting. That's pretty cool. So when does it mow? Does it mow daytime, nighttime?
With the LiDAR, I can do both.
Okay.
I have it set to go out at 6:30 in the morning,
Okay. All right.
Nice.
and it's
Cool.
done by
How long?
yeah. It'll do half the yard. It has to recharge just a little bit towards the very end, but it
Okay.
will cut basically 10,500 square feet of grass from 6:30 until about 1:30 in the afternoon. So
Okay, that's not bad considering it's stopping to charge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the pace that you would do it yourself, but it's doing it when you're not there, which is important.
that is true.
Cool.
Are you sharpening the blade a lot, or?
I have to. This one uses razor blades. It's like a double-sided razor blade, and I have to
Right.
supposed to change them every 100 hours. So not quite yet.
Okay.
Are they standard off the shelf razor blades, or something you got to buy specific?
It's pretty close. You can find them on Amazon. Some people have modified it to use Bosch razor blades. They're a little bit longer.
Okay.
One of the guys down the street has a different kind of robotic mower, and he actually uses mini lawnmower blades. And so that's one of the few that does that, though. Most people use some sort of razor blade.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I got one guy at work's got one, and then I've seen another guy with the new Lubo 3. I mean, there's so many of those things out there now. It's wild.
Yeah. It's interesting because the neighborhood dogs, if it's cutting by the street, the neighborhood dogs don't know what the heck to make of this thing, and one of them tried to attack it. I saw on the camera. And,
Oh, yeah.
so it's
Trust me.
providing comedy.
Guess what, dog? It doesn't care.
No, no, it just stopped and basically just paused and waited till he was done.
Go ahead,
Nice.
pee on me. I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Jeff, what do you got going on?
Just before I left to go back to work, I was had a couple classes, Aeromont and John C. Campbell. Just getting ready for those. Just doing some bending forms, some turning stock, just a little bit of everything before I left. Getting that ready, and then this trip has been kind of nice because Copper came with me. So the couple trips before that, I got on my bike. Got everything kind of staged up here at the homestead here in Alaska. So got all that ready. Then we've been doing quite a bit of fishing. So he's been catching some halibut and riding his bike around town, and he's been having a pretty good time. He likes Valdez quite a bit because he sees the cruise ships come in about every day or so. There's a different cruise ship, and they'll stay till about 3:00. Then from there, he'll ride his bike over and go fishing at the docks, the Kelsey docks, and he's been catching little baby halibuts. And
Man,
yeah, so
Nice.
that's nuts.
So was that a fishing trip y'all went out on where y'all caught all those fish? It looked like a shark too.
yeah. So we went out. So I've taken him out tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last charter. So I've taken him out 3 charters. So he's caught 118-pound halibut, a 90-pound halibut, bunch of rockfish, Pacific cod. He's caught some other stuff, but it's just not. It doesn't. You can't keep until July 1st. Some yellow eye and some lynx cod. So you can't keep any of that until the 1st. So, but he's been loving it because he's a fishing nut. So yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah. But you, Kyle?
For me, Well, I've gotten my 2 prototypes I'm working on, which is the stretcher mate that Brian named for me. And it's the little thing that goes into your stretcher mortises so you can measure your stretcher as well as check the depth of your mortise. So I got those out to some chair makers for evaluation along with my new center finder. A couple of those chair makers may be on this podcast, but anyway. But anyway, so I'm getting those out to them this week, and so they can look at it. I posted on Instagram a little short clip of me using one of the prototypes, so it seemed to get some interest. So we'll see how it goes from there. But besides that, I'm building some chairs. How's that?
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
nice.
There
What
you
a,
go.
what a nice thing.
So right now, I have all these chair parts. I need to turn them into chairs. So I'm gonna make probably 4 balloon back side chairs for our dining room table, which I've been promising for years. And so I got, I'm just using kiln dried red oak. So I've got those cut into sticks, and then I have them soaking. One of the things, and a lot of greenwood chair makers are not gonna like this, probably. We'll see. But anyway, I'm dealing with kiln dried wood. So you want to get those for the balloon back. You want to get the long sticks for the balloon bow. You want to get that in kind of like a D shape before you steam bend it. Well, I just ran it through the router table.
That works.
So
Nothing wrong with that. As long as it gets you there.
as long as I was just like, I'm doing 4 of these, and they're 62 inches long. I go, I'm just going to run these things through the router table and be done with it. It's kiln dried wood. It's going to take me forever to do that with the draw knife. So I was like, yeah, let's just boom, done. So yeah. So by the time I set up the router table, ran them through, we're talking like 20-30 minutes.
Right.
Which was nice.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I think that would probably be your best bet anyways, because you might have grain that's going to reverse back and forth, and just.
Yeah. So anyway, I was when I cut these out, I was real purposeful about making sure these things are as straight as possible. So I got 4 soaked, and that's one thing is I kind of modified my soaking tube a little bit. So basically, what I have now is I have a 6-inch drain pipe that's capped at the bottom. It's about 48 inches tall, and then I have a rubber thing that is a coupler that goes from the 6-inch down to a 4-inch pipe. I got the 4-inch in that, and that coupler's probably, I don't know, 6 inches tall or something like that. It's all done with hose clamps on it, and it's all out of rubber. So what I can do, and I like this better, is I can put my sticks in the 4-inch pipe, and I can move that 4-inch pipe up and down to get it to the height that I need to. And then there's like a what is this? Some sort of test plug that you can buy. I saw it at Home Depot. It's like, I don't know, $7, but it's like this little plug that has like a screw on the top of it that will, lock in. So I can put that on the top of the 4-inch pipe, and everything's secure, and it's not going to breed mosquitoes. So anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish
have
I
like
would either 9 or 10 bloom back. The back's already bent. I could have just sent them to you. So
Now you tell me.
Yeah.
Now you
So
tell
I
me.
didn't know you were doing it. So, but I have those, and I've been wanting to do Galbert's that drawing chair he has. He calls that bloom back.
Yeah.
And I did the bends for those a while ago, maybe like 2 years ago or something. I just I did the bends, and that's all far as I got on them.
Nah, this was part of the fun of it. So anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have probably turned you down anyway.
I'm working on a balloon back that bends in 2 planes.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I've got to figure out.
So bend
Yep.
away from the back.
Yep. So it bends back as well as your basic
Yeah.
D shape. It bends
Yeah.
back just a little bit.
So, so that's an interesting form. Is it kind of like a modified continuous arm form type thing, or what?
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. So we can talk about it. But I got the idea from Toby Oxley.
Okay, nice. That is
Yeah.
cool. Well, that brings me to you, David. So what are you working on in your shop besides this?
It's been busy. We've been finishing up a home renovation. So we closed in a porch, added a bathroom and a laundry room, and brought our bedroom downstairs and made a whole master suite. And I made the vanities, but I haven't made doors or drawers yet.
Okay.
So I need to get those done this summer.
Yeah.
But coming back, I've been pretty busy. I had a class last week that we built a Berea armchair, and then had a bunch of commissions. So I've got some minor production work I do for a local artist. I build all the bases for their stools, and finished up some of that, and had a couple of walnut side chairs go out, and I've got interesting. I don't do this much anymore, but I'm doing a reproduction, shaker reproduction of some of the early stuff, and all that stuff was bent. So you think of shakers as having really straight legs and things. They're not. Right? It bends an inch over the length of the leg.
Okay.
Really subtle.
Yeah.
But it messes up your numbers quite a bit.
Oh, I can imagine. So so you're having to, and that's, some of the shaker villages, they kind of specialized in different types of furniture at some points. They kind of had their own little take on each village.
Yeah. I think it was, dependent on the carpenters or furniture makers that were living there at the time had their own little take on it, but I was able to go up to the Hancock Shaker Village, which isn't too far from here, and with one of the directors there, get into their back rooms and really study a lot of the originals.
Oh, nice.
And that was really a treat, to be able to get in and actually see, they had rooms full of them, of everything. So that was a lot of fun. So I based it all off that. And I actually have a number 5 side chair original that I picked up, dirt cheap years ago. And, and so I copied a bunch of that too.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. So they let you do all the photographs and measurements and all that kind of stuff.
Photographs, measurements. Yeah, they were wonderful. So it's a wonderful place if you ever get up there into Pittsfield, Mass. It's up in the northwest corner of Massachusetts, and they have the big round stone barn, and the big shaker workbench that's famous with fine woodworking is up there. You can see it, and how they built everything. And they didn't make a lot of chairs there. They made far more chairs across the border in New York and Mount Lebanon. They had a big chair factory there. But they still made a few there, and they kind of use it. But it's a working farm, and so all the outbuildings, all the fields and everything, they're all operational, which is pretty nice. Yeah,
that is nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, before I just pepper you with all kinds of questions, it's been a while. Why don't you give our listeners just a little brief bio about yourself, where you grew up, and how you got into woodworking and teaching and all that kind of good stuff?
Oh yeah, it's a long, convoluted path. But I grew up in Connecticut, and my grandfather had a shop in our house, and I really wasn't allowed down there. But I guess you keep it away. The things you can't have are the things you want the most.
Yeah.
So I caught the bug of being able to build things. And my father's family was all farmers too, and if they needed something, they built it. From rugs and quilts to you name it. It got made on the farm. So I kind of grew up with that handmade thing. But I didn't go in that direction in college. I'm actually a biochemist by trade, and got out and got a job and hated it, and apprenticed with a guy with a furniture maker in outside New York City for a couple of years, and that was an eye opener. We did everything from repairing Windsor chairs to painting gazebos to kitchens, whatever work came in, we did. And I got out of it because I needed to make money to support the kids, and used the chemistry degree and got into the medical business. And I worked in mostly in the surgical sales, surgical marketing, business development. I also did a bunch of work in diagnostics and things, but I always kept my hands in woodworking. And in the middle of all that, I had a chance to open up a shop in California. And so I did that, and I just happened to land in San Marcos, where Palomar College is. And because I was a resident, I got to go to Palomar College for free. So I studied furniture and furniture design under Ian Kirby at Palomar, which was very interesting, because old Barnes and Noble, apprenticeship program, that he grew up in, he did a ton of stuff by hand. So I really learned hand tools, watching him hand plane, Brazilian rosewood veneers, with a
Right.
number 7. The sandpaper was not allowed, so you learn some really pretty good skills. And we did a bunch of big projects out there. I had a decent sized shop, and when I moved back east, it was I'm not doing any of that big stuff anymore. And I moved back east and got back into the surgical device business and diagnostics business, but I always kept my hands in, and I started taking chair making classes. So first with Mike Dunbar, and then with a few other people, and I immediately started selling chairs. So I was building a couple dining room sets a year, every year, and then I had a chance to retire early, and I took it, and so I've been full time for 13, 14 years, just building chairs for the most part. I do the occasional table and other things, desks and things for people, especially if they're buying chairs. I'll do them, but it's a complete transition in my shop from the way I had it as a furniture maker to the way it is now. My table saw is really a storage platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That becomes,
I should have mentioned that when I actually routed those sticks for the bow backs. It took me, I said it took 30 minutes to set up. I probably took 30 minutes first to clean everything off the router table.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's, but it's, my shop revolves around a bandsaw, lathe, and a drill press for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's very different from what it used to be.
Yes. Now, are you still using that Laguna lathe?
I am.
Still liking it?
Yep. Yeah. I had made Nova, and the shaft of the motor broke.
Oh man.
And I couldn't get replacements, and it was like I was going back and forth with Nova for a long time, and 10 weeks later I had commissions. I wasn't able to turn stuff, and nothing was available. The one-ways weren't available. The Powermatics, everything had a 2-3 month lead time. But Laguna had just come out with this lathe. In fact, I only found one review on it online. I said, I know what their bandsaws are like, and they're wonderful. So I'll take my chances. And I took it, and a buddy helped me set it up. And within an hour and a half, I was using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had to make any adjustments to it now. Well, it's probably been 9 years anyways. I think they came out 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I have an extension bed on it, so I can do some longer pieces, but rarely do I need to.
Yeah. That's nice. Someday I'm gonna get me a big boy lathe, but we'll see. I keep saying that, and I never do it. But anyway, that's the one thing I want to upgrade. But my little lathe, it just keeps going.
It keeps going. It's hard to. Yeah, it's hard. I said I would have stayed with the Nova if it hadn't. I had it tricked out and weighted down, so there was no vibration to it, and then the shaft of the motor broke.
Oof.
Man,
Kyle, you're not replacing anything. You're just adding to the collection. Just have to get rid of it. Just get it.
I was able to sell the whole thing, so it worked out.
Well, my whole thing is my little lathe is, if we get flood warnings or stuff like that, got a hurricane coming in or something, it's easy to get up and out.
Yeah.
And if I get anything, anything bigger, it's going to be a bigger pain in the butt. And like I said, this thing's like a horse and a half, and I got bed extensions. I think I'm up to like 36 inches between centers, so it's fun.
That's more than enough.
95% of what you need.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and mostly I'm making my little jig, so I'm only using about 7 inches.
You could do it.
And lathe.
Yeah, I've got my 14 that you could do. Like that's all you do.
Yeah, well, you're not moving this Laguna easily. I think it's pushing 600 pounds.
Yeah. This one I can easily, just get my shop crane lifted, put it on top of my workbench. We're done. And that's with the stand and everything. Just boom. But
I recently rearranged my shop, and I moved it like over a foot and back a foot, and it took me like 3 hours. Doing it by myself, lever here, lever there, move it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot of people that know you, Dave, know you spend some time in Australia, especially the last few years, and you just recently got back. You've been teaching over there, as well as, I think, participating in the Lost Trades Fair. We had Glenn Rundell on, 3 months ago? So anyway.
Yeah, Glenn's a fabulous guy, and
Yeah.
he and Lisa run the Lost Trades Fair.
Yeah.
It is just an amazing event. If anybody gets a chance to go over
Mhm.
to see or participate in that, and Glenn brings Americans over quite often. So I think Ashley Hardwood was over there this year. A bunch of tool makers have been over. So it's a wonderful thing. But what they do is they bring together artisans from all the old crafts. So there's boot makers and hat makers and wheelwrights and tinsmiths and weavers and shearers and you name it. If they're doing a handcraft, they're there. And the goal is while you're there, you have to demonstrate. You can't just set up a little booth and sell stuff. You actually have to demonstrate.
I like that.
So there's a woman there who's carving carousel horses by hand.
Oh, wow.
There's I say tinsmiths, the guy who made the samurai, costumes in Tom Cruise's The Last Samurai, kind of thing. He's there. The blacksmiths are there. The tool makers are there. Coopers are there. And they're all making their stuff all day, and it attracts thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like 12 to 20,000 people for the weekend.
Hmm.
It's not a little event, and it's really well attended. And one of the things is they're now starting to see kids that came years ago and said, wow, I never knew that this could be like a career, and they're now back presenting at the piece. And the thing is, it's knowledge not shared is knowledge lost.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's a tremendous undertaking to put this event together, and they get it help sponsored by the government, so they've changed the locations a couple times to make easier access and things like that. And so it's just a wonderful event.
Yeah, this time they were you moved it to a new location this year, right?
Yeah, I was at a place called Hanging Rock, which is this
Okay.
huge rock formation that sticks up kind of in the middle of nowhere. And
Yeah.
it's it's a scenic site. I don't know if it's a heritage site or not. It's a fairly famous thing, and it's within a national park, so they have to follow these national park rules and stuff like that. But it's a little bit closer to the city of Melbourne than what the last ones were. So
Right.
they're getting a little bit more traffic, I think, and it's wonderful. And I'm there demonstrating with Nick Found.
With Nick Found, okay.
Nick's a young chairmaker and does fabulous work. And, so I started going over there and teaching at Nick's shop and helping him get set up to make chairs. And, he's got a wonderful shop there and holds classes. So I teach at his shop. And then I've been, demonstrating and doing stuff there with Nick, in his booth at the show.
So what chairs were you demonstrating? Ladderbacks or Windsors or both or both?
Both, yep. So Nick's probably now one of the only ladderback chair makers in Australia. Yep.
I was just going to ask you, how popular are ladderbacks?
They talked about
in
it.
Australia?
Obviously, Make a Chair from a Tree was a popular book,
Right.
and somebody was doing that, and I've seen some. Stuart from the Illawarra School has some nice ladderback stools in his house that I've seen. But there's really not people making ladderbacks. And we've held classes for the Jenny chair, and we've held classes for the Boggs chair, and we're now starting to hold classes for our designs, which are really an evolution, an iteration of both of those. Very contemporary looking, which fits well within the Australian design style, and it's gone real well. The issue is the lack of real usable chair woods.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
We
the
spoke to
expense of
Clint
it,
about that.
Yeah.
Because if you're importing anything, it's going to be expensive, and then the stuff
And
they
it's all
have
kiln
there,
dried,
it's all kiln dried, and then the stuff they have there is, like carving a rock, I guess.
Yeah, and there's really only one. It's called Blackwood. It's part of the Euclid family. It's beautiful stuff, but it reacts very, very differently than anything that we have here.
Right.
We can still get it green. It holds its moisture for forever.
Ooh, wow.
So I know, Jeff, you build ladderbacks. You think about bending the slats, right? 15 minutes in a steamer, put it in in a form for a minute, and it's good and it's dry the next day and you're using it. But with blackwood, it's like in the steamer for 45 minutes, and then you got to bend it really, really slow. And then it probably takes a good 10 days to 2 weeks for it to dry and you can use it.
Wow.
And they say, it's like, hey, everything here tries to conserve water, and the trees are no different. They conserve water, and it will bend, and it's beautiful, beautiful wood. So we made both ladderbacks and Windsors out of blackwood, and that's what we were building and demonstrating with.
Yeah. Well, I guess my biggest question from the Lost Trades is, did you get to try some of the Lost Trades beer?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It was wonderful. It never made it back.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they had a huge issue in that warehouse. They had all those wildfires, same as we were having out west here. And it took out their warehouse.
Oh man.
The cold storage warehouse, and they lost all their beer.
Oh no.
Yes, 2 months before the Lost Trades Fair.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't know how many, thousands of cans, but pallets and pallets of beer. And luckily the brewery was able to come back up and make a bunch more for them.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so it was good. But the Lost Trades beer was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, Glenn promised us some beer at Tanworks. He said he was going to bring some for us.
Maybe.
I don't know
Probably
if
the ones that
coming
melted.
or not.
Yeah. They may be a little toasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't mind the charring on the outside of the can. Everything inside's fine. Yeah.
Smoked.
Smoked beer. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, smoked beer.
So how was the trip down there? I know you've done it many times. You're probably used to it, but what's the travel situation to Australia these
it's a
days?
long trip no matter how you look at it.
I don't think it matters where you're coming from.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's door to doors, 24 to 28 hours. Right.
Well,
so it's a lot of travel.
You do that time travel stuff where you lose time going there and gain time going back, or vice versa?
Yeah. Say that again.
Is it like the time travel where when you're traveling there, you either lose or gain time?
Oh, yeah, you lose a day.
You're going.
It's
and then you
13
gain
to 14 hour time zone change.
Yeah. Wow.
So
well, do you break it up? Do you fly somewhere and stay somewhere for like a couple of days?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, we have, where we've taken a few days here and there and traveled in between, but it's still a long trip.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it. So you might as
that's
well
true.
just get it over with. And I said my wife is Australian and has family in the area, so we've been going back and forth for a number of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, you're probably fairly used to it, but I'm sure it's still.
You never really think you ever used to.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard tricks with melatonin to get jet lag under control. You start forcing yourself to sleep a little more on the way back, or vice versa. Again, you can get over jet lag pretty quick. My goal is, as soon as I get on the first airplane, I'm on that time zone of where I'm going. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm not following the plane schedule when you're eating. If I'm getting on the plane and it's 10 o'clock at night while I'm shutting my eyes, and I'm going to try to sleep as much as I can.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so it's usually either for us on the East Coast, I'm usually connecting either via Dallas or via LA.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And LA to Melbourne is 14 hours, and Dallas to Melbourne is 16 hours.
Yeah. And East Coast to Dallas or LA is
another 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. Something I always think about, because I travel within the United States. I've been to Nevada. I'm in Florida right now. I'm based in Ohio, so I think about those little changes when you get outside of the landmass. It's a much bigger deal to think about. At least, it might not affect you greatly, but losing a day is something to plan for.
Yeah. Well, you gain a day when you come back, So,
yeah,
that's right.
So it all works out.
Yeah.
But you're messed up for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Well, I had an interesting question. I don't think we've asked you this before, and that is, after all the years that you've made chairs and that you've taught chairs and stuff of that nature, what is the one thing you wish you'd known when you started this day one?
Green woodworking.
Green woodworking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. For sure. In fact, I I talk about it in my classes, and I harp on it multiple times a day, every day, is, what I call the 5 pillars of a strong chair joint, and I know Jeff Lefkowitz talks about this quite a bit, and, some of the other people, and, it's really how I met Jeff, searching out, more green woodworking chair making techniques. And, but that's, because when I took Windsor chair making class with Mike Dunbar, none of that was ever discussed, so.
Now, was he using green wood? I assume he was.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
So he had logs come in, but you weren't riving them. You were sawing them and running through them with joiner and a planer.
Okay. Gotcha.
But it was beautiful, dead straight red oak, local red oak. And, so it bent just fine.
Yeah.
And then, he did have a big drying room to get things dry, but there was really no discussion about wet dry joints or, grain orientation or, any of that stuff. So,
yeah.
But that was it, and really what drew me to it was, I was having some Windsor chairs that I was making, and I'd made furniture for years, both professionally as an amateur, and my chair joints were coming apart, and I didn't know why. I knew it probably had to do with a lot of that green woodworking stuff, and that's how I searched things out and found them. But
nice. Well, what do you like for someone to notice, like the first time they sit in one?
Oh, how comfortable it is.
How comfortable it is.
Yeah.
And so what do you think is the most comfortable chair you make?
I think they're all comfortable.
Oh, okay.
Good answer.
They all sit a little different.
He doesn't have a favorite child. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, they all sit a little different. If you have
Yeah.
a living room lounge chair, you're sitting back because you want to relax a little bit more. If you're at a desk chair or a dining chair, you want to sit up a little bit more. If you're a rocking chair, it's got to balance right.
Right.
But when I'm at a show, I insist on people sitting in the chairs.
Right.
And the first thing they go is, oh, I didn't think that'd be comfortable. Whether you're looking at a Windsor, that has a wooden seat, that people think,
Right.
oh, it's a hard seat, it's going to be really uncomfortable, but it's really not.
No.
And that's it. The hidden part is the structure, as we talked about, green woodworking joinery and things. But really, I want them to look around and see a chair they like and then have them sit in it.
Nice. Well, let me ask you this. So what is the chair that you make or that's in your collection you're most proud of?
Probably there's a really early chair that I made. I've been making Windsor chairs for a couple of years, but always off somebody else's patterns.
Right.
And I saw this antique that was in the Hartford State House from the 1760s, and I copied it. And so it was the first time I took something that was had its own dimensions, had its own angles, had everything, and I was able to reproduce that and make it into a chair. It's an old comb back, and it has 4 sets on the crest, and it's kind of put together like a sack back, but had carved hands and things. And so that was really early on, and it's a wonderful chair. It's very comfortable, and
have you made more than just that one?
Nope.
You
don't mess with perfection,
Yeah. There's a few others that I really like. I've been making these high back sack backs.
Okay.
For a year or two now, and I first saw them in Nancy Coyne Evans' book on Windsor chairs, right? So she was a curator down in Delaware. What's the name of the big place? But a 3-volume.
I have
3-volume book set on Windsor chairs, and it has everything that's in there. And here's just on the whole book, I think there were like just 2 pictures of high back sack backs, and I really kind of fell in love with the form, and I think they're a little bit more comfortable than a regular sack back, which is already a comfortable chair.
Right. Yeah.
So the tall back makes it more flexible, and and it looks pretty sweet. And
nice.
Yeah.
Well, with that, so you're going to be talking about chair making and joints coming up at the Texas Woodworking Festival, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So it's towards the end of September, I'm giving 3 talks.
Okay.
there, so the first one, and I think this is what's most intimidating for most people moving into chairs from doing other furniture, is compound joints.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find them? How do you drill them? How do you look? How do you do it? And, and there's simple ways to look at it. And then once you figure that out, chair making's not so awesome anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not that intimidating. And so that's going to be, I think it's a 90-minute demonstration presentation that I'll be giving there. And that'll be really nice, because I treat angles very differently from Windsors from ladder backs.
Yeah.
So in ladder backs, I don't think of degrees or any of that stuff. It's all rise over run.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to roofing. So you never have to worry about angles. And even in Windsor chairs, I don't think angles that much, and you can get it down. So I'm only having to deal with one number, essentially, not having to deal with multiples, and it's a pretty easy thing to do. So I'll be talking about that, and I've got a presentation on my 5 pillars of a strong joint, and going through the green woodworking aspects of it. So that'll be nice. And then the third one is something I also talk a lot about in my classes, is design starts at wood selection.
Yeah.
And how do you get all your parts out of that you need out of lumber selection? And it doesn't matter if it's you're getting green slabs, or if you're getting you're going to the local lumber store and buying kiln dried. It's the same. It'll get into that process of what your overall design is going to be, simply from the type of lumber that you select and the grain. How does the grain run, and how does are you in plain sawn or rift sawn or quarter sawn, and that also gets back into your into your joints, but it makes a difference in how your chair looks. Or your piece of furniture.
Right. Yeah.
I remember when I was at the Nakashima complex, the Mira was telling us, she took us in the big slab barn building, and there was a huge slab in like this the room that they chalk it on. And she says, the customer says, I kind of want my furniture to look like this, and then the wood tells us how it's going to look. So it was very, like, you don't pick it; it chooses itself, basically, and it was really eye opening.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that was also one of the things that Ian Kirby was big on, back when I was at Palomar as well, and, letting the wood speak, trying not to get, the wood to compete with the design, which is a pretty, you see that quite a bit sometimes, where you have a beautiful design, but the wood is so extravagant that it takes away from the design. Your eye doesn't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's Nakashima all day long.
Yeah.
Is where does your eye land, and why is it landing there, and that whole design process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so true, so true. Yeah, I guess I was kind of fortunate when I first got into this hobby. Forgot who it was. It might have been Mark Spagnolo, or could have been somebody else, but they were emphasizing the grain. And this is like when I was like few months into the hobby or something like that, or maybe a year or so into the hobby. So I kind of learned at an early age into the hobby that hey, you want to pay attention to the grain. You want to make sure that things are not I guess the best word would be disjointed from each other, having things that just don't look right. So it's kind of been ingrained in me, but I think I was fortunate because a lot of people aren't exposed to that when they get into the hobby, and it's like wood is wood is wood is wood. And then, you make something and you go, why does this look terrible?
Yeah.
Yeah. The form is correct. I followed the instructions, but why does this look terrible? And it's,
Yeah. And all your joinery is perfect. And
so, that's such an important thing.
Off. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of that, so you've taught chair making all over, from your shop to I think you've taught at some other shops around here, and are teaching at other shops around here, but both internationally. But so what have you learned most about watching hundreds of students that you've taught build chairs?
I think the biggest thing I've seen students struggle with is letting the tool do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And not trying to power through, letting the tool do the work. And obviously you need to have sharp tools,
Yeah.
but I think Vic Teslin calls it, don't moose it. You know,
Yeah.
you know, and
Exactly.
I think about it, and these guys who were making furniture a couple hundred years ago, they had to use these tools all day long,
Mhm.
right? And you use a tool wrong, you get tired, and your joints hurt, and your hands hurt, and and if you had to use a tool all day long, there's got to be a way to do that, and so I think a big part of it is learning to use tools right. They don't need to be white knuckled. They don't need to be
Mhm.
forceful. It's and you see the light come on as students start to see that, and they get beautiful curly shavings and things. But I think that's a big aha moment for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the physical lessons are some of the quickest ones because of those things. Like you're going to fatigue, you're going to make a mistake, you're going to push too hard. There's something in there that is immediate feedback,
Yeah.
or fairly immediate feedback.
No.
Yeah. Or you shouldn't have your wrists aching the next day. You should be able to use a draw knife all day long without having your joints hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first, the first time I ever used a draw knife was in Peter Galbert's class. And I still remember skew and slice.
Skew and slice makes everything nice, right?
Nice, yeah.
Like a limerick.
Yeah. I say it all
Exactly.
the time.
Yeah, I know that is, but for me, what I've noticed recently, and this is the age I'm getting, is varying the height of my work to be in a more better posture.
Like an
Yeah.
ergonomic.
Yeah. So I have all sorts of blocks. My bench itself, I can raise and lower it on some setup stuff. But even on top of the bench, hey, I'll put a block or something like that to either raise something up or move to another bench if I need it to be a little lower or something like that. So
Yeah. That was a big thing with Ian Kirby when he was teaching was body position.
Right.
It's body position is everything for comfort, for setup, for sawing straight, for using a chisel properly, for planing properly. Lathe turning, the same thing. It's all body position. Not tool position for the most part.
Yeah. And since I've been doing that, and it's mainly because of age, but I think Jeff Miller has a book on it that I have. So I've, picked that up a couple of times. Okay. What was he talking about? Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so with that, tell us a little bit about some of your upcoming classes that you have.
Yeah, I've got a few more this year. I'll be teaching Jeff Lefkowitz's new 2-slat side chair.
Okay, nice.
So ladder back in July, and in August I'm teaching my high back sack back here in the shop, and then in September I'm at Pete Galbert's shop. So
nice.
Teaching what we're calling, Nick and I are calling the Berkshire rocker, but a lot of the design work was done in Australia. But because I live in the Berkshires and my first couple prototypes got named that, we kind of continue calling that, but it really should be the Red Hill rocker. Coming out of there.
Yeah.
Nick's had a big hand. John Grant, I don't know if you know John Grant.
Yeah.
Chairmaker out of Tasmania. John spent a week with me. I want to say 2, maybe 3 years ago now, and he had a bunch of design inputs into this thing, and we built one. And John's a fantastic guy and really, really talented teacher as well. Living in the bush in Tasmania.
Yeah. We've had him on the show.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago. So
Yep.
I think he was making the rounds here in the States.
Yeah, he tries to come over once a year, and it's been wonderful. He's been able to get some grants to do the travel, so that he can go back and teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has like that one student apprenticeship program he runs. Yeah.
Yeah, his shop is pretty small, but he actually has living quarters on site because he is pretty remote, and it's a small shop, and it can handle 2 people, maybe 3, if you feel real comfortable rubbing elbows with people. But
like me and my wife cooking together, it's like, get out of my way.
Yeah, it's really a 1 to 2 person shop. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so that's and then my last class is I'm teaching Brian Boggs' big Berea rocker
Oh, nice.
in October here. Yeah, and that's just a beautifully designed chair.
Yeah.
It's a really big chair, but it's a beautifully designed chair.
Yeah. That is nice. That's. Are you doing any teaching? You mentioned Pete Galbert. Anything outside of your own shop?
No, other than Pete, and
Yeah.
and Nick and I haven't really started figuring out what we're doing for next year yet. I'll be heading back to Australia next winter.
Okay.
So I don't know what we'll do, and we're still trying to lock down the design of this rocker, and we also made an armchair out of it. So it's a 5-slat rocker arm and armchair, and the designs are pretty nice. So
well, it must be rough leaving New England in the wintertime to go to Australia.
Yeah.
it was terrible. It's terrible.
It's like a new version of the snowbirds. You're not going to Florida. You're going way closer to the equator. In fact, on the other side of the equator.
Yeah. So the goal is to leave here late fall, come back in early spring.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so there we enter into fall, go through summer, and then come back in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
that's a retirement plan, let alone what you're doing.
That's what we're hoping.
Oh, well, tell us. So, before we let you go, what are you doing these days when you're not in the shop? Are you still skiing and stuff like that?
Yeah, well,
Of course, you're in Australia now, so you
Australia in
can't-
the summer.
Yeah.
But I live on a trophy trout stream. You're talking about fishing there, Jeff. It's probably one of the nicest trout streams in the States. And I can walk to 3 different pools. I do some fly fishing, and Lisa and I do some cycling, and we do quite a bit of hiking, camping and stuff. So we stay pretty active.
That's awesome.
Well, fantastic. Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Yep. So on Instagram, it's Douyard Chairmaker. And on my website is daviddouyardchairmaker.com.
All right. Well, if you would like to catch David at the Texas Woodworking Festival, be sure to check him out. That's going to be on September 25th and 27th in Austin, Texas. So with that, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I'll start us off. I'm having something I haven't had in at least a decade, and that is
Guinness. Nope.
That is a Fat Tire Ale.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
New Belgium.
very nice.
So anyway, I was just in the store.
Yeah.
I was looking through all the choices I had, and I said, Fat Tire. I haven't had one of those in like a decade, so I got some of them. Anyway, they're nice and lovely. I don't know why I haven't had them before, but anyway, so very good. Jeff, what flavor of sparkling water are you drinking?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm having a kombucha, little mango, ginger.
Oh,
Nice.
that sounds great.
So,
Good for the gut.
Yeah, it is.
yeah. But I after work I've been taking Copper. He likes he's kind of a repeat offender at the Valdez Brewing. So we have some either a shrimp po' boy he likes, or a pretzel or some halibut bites, and he'll pick out my beer for the night. So
Oh, cool.
it's good.
Nice.
It seems like there's something wrong with that, but I was like, well, it's kind of fun.
There's nothing wrong with
So,
that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's right.
He likes to. Yeah, he likes to pick it out. He's like, have this one, and I'm like, it doesn't sound good.
Oh, but hey, you know what? He's widening your experience, which is awesome.
That's right.
He is. I've seen more in 2 weeks than I have 2 years on my own.
Yeah.
There.
Wow.
I like
There you
that.
go. Good to have him along then.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So
Well,
I'm drinking a Haze, which is a double IPA by Treehouse Brewing. I'm very excited though. One of my neighbors came home and brought a bunch of Trillium.
Oh yeah.
Which it's going in the fridge tomorrow. And thankfully the wood shop's pretty cold, so it's like a big beer cooler in there. But the Haze is one of my favorite Treehouse beers. It's something that you could drink quite a bit of over the time.
Nice.
But Sean, how about you?
So while I'm here in Florida, there is a particular cocktail that's available not where I live, that I get when I'm down here. And I was down here in March, and I found it. So Have a Day it's a golf themed thing. It's part of a golf channel that I follow. They make tequila-based cocktails.
Ooh.
And so the first thing I
Nothing wrong
did,
with that.
nothing wrong with that, right? And it doesn't taste like tequila at all. But the alcohol is provided by tequila. But they've got a transfusion, which is like a grape and ginger, alcoholic drink. This pack I got has a Georgia peach in it. But it was literally the first thing I did. I landed, I got my rental car, and I drove to a liquor store. It's terrible. It's awful.
Sounds like Handworks.
Yeah.
And then the first stop on any business trip is the liquor store.
Yes. If I don't check in with a bottle or a case of booze at the hotel, I'm doing something wrong. I really like it. It's a simple. It's not too sweet. It's peachy, but it's a really nice, especially when it's hot. Something cool, just to kind of like cool you off. It's good stuff. I just can't wait till it comes closer to home because we have golf courses. Damn it, we should have this golf themed stuff. But yeah. But David, how about you? What you drinking on?
I'm lucky. We have a brewery a half mile down the street from the shop.
You poor thing.
In-house, and they make some wonderful beers, Belgian trained, and I am drinking a Dr. Strange Haze, which is a New England style hazy IPA.
Nice.
Yeah. So you've had this, huh, Brian?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
A little strange.
There is the Northeast, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut. I mean, those are some of the best breweries in the country. I'm sorry.
Oh, boy.
All your Russian River people in California.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I've got about 4 breweries within half an hour.
Yeah.
And they're all producing good stuff.
And New England IPAs have really, for a while now, have been kind of really strong. It's been the thing.
Yeah.
Lots of varieties, lots of breweries popping up. Like there's a lot of good stuff coming out of that area, which is really, really great to see. I don't get to see it all, unfortunately, but good for you.
Yeah. I don't get to see it all unless I go to.
Yeah, not at all.
I got a couple of pubs that I can go to. They'll have beers from all over, and I think Jay Henry's here, and they'll have 70 beers on tap. The only problem is they're always changing, but occasionally we get some of the New England IPAs on tap and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice.
Well, come on up, make some chairs, and have some local beer.
Don't tell me it was a good time, David.
Yeah, I still have a deposit with David, so
Okay, all right.
Yeah, from the COVID era. Yes.
Let's make it a podcast themed thing. Let's all go up there at the same time, and
we just do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sounds great. Well, with that, let's move on to feedback, and little peek behind the curtain here for our listeners is it's been a while since we've had a show because we had a bunch in the can, so we got a lot of feedback. So Brian, start us off.
All right. So the first half of this is looking at episodes 608 and 609 when David Douyard was on. First piece here is from Heartwood Woodshop. It says, another great listen with another great guest. It was so interesting to hear the history of Wisniewski and quite a practical and interesting take on sharpening. That was a great episode. I really enjoyed that.
Yep.
It really was. That was awesome.
Then Marcus Tobert, if I pronounced that right, says, I really enjoyed listening to this episode. And then our good friend of the show, Robert Tolnai, says, Deneb was the first person I met from Wisniewski. He sold me the 16.5 based on his recommendation. It was during a hand tool show at Jeff Miller's shop, Chicago. It was one of many over the years. It was a great recommendation and still one of my favorites. Then moving on here to episode 610 and 612. Should be 611, maybe? I don't know.
611. Sorry.
611. Yep. This is when Jamil Abraham was on. That's a great show as well. We kind of learn about the history of handworks a little bit and where it might be going. Then I can never pronounce this. Sisibich says, I love the story about his mechanic learning about benchcrafted. That was a funny story.
Yeah.
It says, I'm looking forward to handworks. Anyone else staying at the campground? So yeah, there are not a tremendous amount of accommodations around Manna, Iowa, but there's plenty. And then
yep, and we won't be there, Sivich, but I look forward to seeing you again, buddy.
Yeah, we won't be at the campground. We'll be, unless he's talking about camping at the winery.
Yeah, if it's at the wine festival, we'll be coming back.
Then you'll be real close. Yeah.
It'll be real close.
Then Michael Maselli Upholsterer says, "Hey, Rockstar, great stuff." And then Benchcrafted. Can you comment on your own episode? I don't know.
I threw it in there.
That's funny.
So self-confidence there. All right. So Benchcrafted said some exciting Handworks news in this one. Have a listen and register at handworks.co, not .com. It's .co.
Is it co?
It is co.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Robert Tolnai again brings in our last piece here and says, definitely looking forward to listening and seeing everyone at Handworks this fall.
Awesome.
So if you would like to leave us some comments, you could probably the best place to do that is the MWA podcast Instagram. And if you could also leave us a high rating, possibly a 5-star rating on your podcast player of choice, it will help get the show out in front of additional people.
And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.